Well, all the corn's been harvested, cover crops behind the corn been planted, cornfield's been bush hogged. Got a real nice 1.3-inch rain over the weekend to help get all of our cover crops up. All right, last week Nate got the combine all cleaned up, and we got a few minor repairs to make to it before it goes back to the field. All right, Nate, I want you to start off on taking these spreader flaps off. That's what's going to be in these big boxes here. Also got a new air filter over there. Put it on. And there's one little piece of hardware. Crap, now they're missing both of them. The hardware that goes in here. We had one and one was missing, and I've got a new one over there in the paper bag. Now we need a second one. Great. Anyway, work on that and putting that air filter back up under there, and I'm got to work on the brakes. All right, we were having a problem with a parking brake not holding. Started during corn harvest, so we got our hydraulic park brake assembly right here. We've got our main disc brake right here, and then we got our secondary parking brake disc right here, and this is probably an overly complicated thing for the parking brake, but we're going to take this off and try to find out exactly why it's not grabbing. I can hear the hydraulics activating on it when I hit the button, but not holding the combine. Oh boy, that's on there tight. One of them out. I mean, seriously, do we need anything this big to hold a freaking parking brake on? All right, Nate, I need the big 3/4 gun and air line. This one ain't gonna cut it. Oh boy. Get under here where I can get a better grip on it. Oh, I'm not made for tight spaces. Uh-oh. Ooh, this sucker's heavy. Well, there's a problem. There ain't no pad material left there. It's almost straight down to the backing plate. Yes. Now tell me how a parking brake wears out. It's either on, keeping the combine in place, or it's off. There ain't no using it to actually stop or slow down. But regardless, that's what the problem is. All right, we got the pads off. Like I said, there ain't nothing left, but I figured, and actually this started wearing into the backing plate right there. The reason that happened is the way this thing works. You got a hydraulic cylinder, when it applies pressure, forces this out, which compresses the brake pads. And this arm right here is supposed to pivot freely, and it's not, it's froze up. So whenever I would release the brakes, it would take the tension off, but because it's so stiff and froze up, these springs right here did not have enough power to push the pads away from the disc. So apparently they were constantly dragging until they finally wore out. So we got some new pads to put on there, but I gotta get this arm off, and then I gotta get it cleaned up and shined up to where it pivots back and forth freely. All right, I got my pin that goes through here, got it good and cleaned up. That's what it's supposed to do right there. So that's good to go. And then got my pins for my brake pads, got them cleaned up. Went to go put my brake pads on. This is what I picked up Saturday at the Case IH store. And well, yeah, I don't think those are going to work. I'm sure this happened to y'all quite a bit, that you call up the parts store, say, well, I need, I need the such and such off the such and such on the such and such. And say, yeah, we got it or whatever. And I've gotten to where I always, whenever possible, I always try to look up the schematics myself and make sure I'm getting the right part number, because stuff has got so incredibly complex, it just prevents mistakes. Well, I didn't do that this time. So what they gave me, I guess they misunderstood me. They gave me the brake pads for the regular disc brakes, not the brake pads for the parking brakes. So just had to make a hour round trip to Brownsville to get the correct brakes. And then here's the correct brake pads, got them, but notice they came in 2 individual boxes. That means that they sell them separately. That means that they're probably pretty expensive, doesn't it? Yep. These brake pads right here are probably more expensive than Ferrari brake pads. You want to take a guess? Anybody? $150 per brake pad. These ain't much bigger than what's on my side-by-side or my four-wheeler. I mean, there ain't nothing there to them. There ain't no $150 worth of material there. Guys, I just don't know how much longer I can do this. There's just so much stuff. This world's just getting so ridiculous. Things are getting so ridiculous, so out of whack. I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. I mean, I've we're only a third of the way through harvest, and I'm literally at my wit's end on having any sanity. I've got no sanity left whatsoever. I'm done. I'm about to check out. Just the amount of things that infuriate me every day, just from BS like this, is just, I'm not complaining about getting the wrong parts. That was my fault. I should have looked up the part number and given them the right part number. That way there was no mistake. I'm not complaining about that. What I'm complaining about is charging just an obscene amount of money for a freaking brake pad. A parking brake pad, not even the regular brake pads, the parking brake pad. It's just, I'm done. Done, guys. All right, got everything slicked back up and back together, brake pads installed. That's how it's supposed to work. Right there, nice and free. So we're ready to go back on the combine with it now. All right, let's see if I can lift this old heavy sucker back up in here. Get the bolt started. Why can't ever something just tear up that's, at chest level while you're standing on the floor, right on the outside of everything else? Why is everything tears up always got to be way up in here? Just my luck, I guess. All right, hopefully I got this spread back hard enough to go up on the disc. I don't think I do. Come on. Don't tell me you ain't gonna freaking clear. And I got on my crutch. Alright, my brake disc is like about 21 millimeters wide, and I don't have my brake pads spread that far apart. That's why it ain't going on. Run that on up just a little bit more, just to be on the safe side. Don't want it falling on me. Almost right there at it. That should go on. Keyword being should. Yeah, there we go. You just freaking cross-threaded, didn't you? I hate hydraulic oil. Oh my God. Oh, I gotta love it. Dang, I like these pans too. Man. Alright, it's back on there. Just gotta test it a little bit, then put the shield back on here, and should be ready to hold her in place again. Alright. Getting late in the day. I gotta get up in the office, get some work done. Bring you back here in a few minutes, show you exactly what we're doing up there. God, I hate hydraulic oil. It is. Oh, poor jeans. They're ruined. Alright, I spent the last couple hours getting some totals figured up on our corn crop so I could report to crop insurance and get paid. You know, we had an absolutely disaster of a corn crop, by far the worst we'd ever had. I think our previous worst year was 2012, where we had an average around 91 bushels per acre. So anyway, trying to get settled crop insurance so I can get paid, trying to get all of our field weights out of the field, get it put into a nice organized manner. So got this spreadsheet built, and also because all of our moisture coming out of the field was higher than what's allowed at the elevator, was higher than 15%. You know, we also had to account for the moisture to dry it down. Otherwise, crop insurance would short me some bushels, because as we dry down the corn in the bin, you know, we're going to lose bushels because we're losing water weight. So had to account for that too. Anyway, I got this spreadsheet built right here to figure up all of that, give us some final averages and everything, and some total number of bushels. But anyway, when it's all said and done and dried down to 15% moisture, we came up with a total of 36,828 bushels off of 496 acres, which gives me a final average of just a hair over 74 bushels per acre. So plumb terrible. A little bit better than what I thought it was going to be. Going in, I was expecting to have a final average yield of somewhere between 50 and 70 bushels an acre, so we actually surpassed that a little bit. To answer a lot of y'all's questions, no, if these figures are right, if this is what we actually wind up delivering, no, I did not fill my contracts. I had 37,500 bushels contracted, so we're going to come up about 700 bushels short of filling our contracts. So unless the price drops down below what I had it contracted at, I'm going to actually have to buy out of 700 bushels because I can't deliver it. But another problem is that I had the basis set on 50,000 bushels, but I only had the price set on 37,500. So right now the difference in basis and what I set it at and what it is now is about a 10-cent difference. So I don't know if Tyson's going to let me off of that basis contract, or if I'm going to have to buy out of 10 cents per bushel on 12,500 bushels worth of unfilled basis contract. I don't know. I'm just going to have to contact them. But now that I've got all my numbers figured, I know what I've got. You know, if these weights are accurate, you know, this should be pretty close to what we deliver. But you know, it could fluctuate a little bit. But anyway, our worst farm was 48 bushels per acre. It was just a 10-acre farm, real poor hill ground. It's actually my low input field where I'm testing, trying to get by with ultra low inputs. So really doesn't surprise me on that. On our other farms that we treat normally, my lowest yield was 56 bushels per acre. And then surprisingly, what I thought was going to be our worst farm wound up being our best farm. The one up there in Madison County, where just I didn't hardly find any ears out there in the spots I checked. There was actually some really good spots in the field that pulled it up quite a bit. Come flies. But anyway, that 110-acre farm in Madison County had an average of a little over 94 bushels per acre. So really surprised about that. Anyway, some other farms we had 69 bushels an acre, 85 bushels an acre, 72 bushels an acre, 90 bushels an acre, 82 bushels an acre, 76 bushels an acre, 66 bushels an acre, and 62 bushels per acre. So that's what our other farm averages are. So anyway, glad that's behind us. Glad I don't have to worry about corn anymore. I'm going to start off with a clean slate next year. Hopefully have the big crop that we're used to. So get all this turned into crop insurance and hopefully get a pretty nice little check from them for the first time in I don't know how many years. You know, normally, you know, over the course of my career, we've paid out far more in crop insurance premiums than what we've ever received. But we're going to make a pretty big dent in those premiums we paid this year with this corn crop. So if you're curious about how crop insurance works, I did a video about it several videos ago. If I can remember, I'll post a link up here in the corner of the screen if you really want to know the nuts and bolts of crop insurance. I think I did a pretty good job of explaining the basics of it. So anyway, that's going to be it for today. Hopefully tomorrow will be a better day and we'll be able to get into some more stuff. All right, everybody, before I close this video out, one other thing I was wanting to show you. I was going to film what I did yesterday, which is cut out around our cornfield for the zombie trail paintball to make way for the trailers to go around and the zombies to hide in. But after the disaster of a day I had yesterday, it was dark when I finally got out to do it. I was tired, ready to go home, didn't carry my camera. But anyway, that's what I did last night. All day yesterday, I spent driving all around and calling all around West Tennessee, trying to find a new phone because the day before, my phone went on the blink. It got to where it was rebooting once every 4 minutes. And of course, the phone that I wanted, the one that I had, nobody had. I was wanting the iPhone SE model. I don't need to spend $1,500 on an electronic device. You know, the cheaper and smaller SE is all I really need. But the only place that had one in stock, the 128 gigabyte model, was in Milan. Went to Milan, the phone would not activate there. Tech said that the servers were down on their part, but I could take the phone back, hook it up to iTunes on my laptop, and it should activate. Milan's about 30 minutes away anyway. Needless to say, when I got back home, hooked it to iTunes, it did not activate. So I had to go back and got the next cheapest thing they had, which was an iPhone 12 mini. $200 more, but finally got me a new phone at 5:30 yesterday afternoon. So yesterday was a complete disaster. So anyway, before I close out this video, I was wanting to show you the cover crop that we planted. This right here was planted about 9 days ago. And as you can see, it's coming up to a real good stand. Got our cereal rye right here. This that looks like a real young cotton plant, that's your buckwheat right here. Got clover coming up. Got radish coming up. And this real fine grass right here is annual ryegrass. So you can look coming up through here. It's off to a real good stand. Now what I'm looking for this year is hopefully these radishes, hopefully there's enough growing season that these things will really grow and do something, because I know we got a lot of residual nitrogen left over from the soil that the corn crop was not able to take up. And these radishes I found, if they got enough of a growing season and there's nitrogen in the soil, these things will grow monstrous. So really hope for big things from them, grow real big, sequester a lot of nutrients, and hopefully add a lot of organic matter to the soil. But time will tell. You know, just because of our labor situation, I wasn't able to plant them as early as I wanted, so we're looking at a shorter growing season. But hopefully the weather in October, November, early December will be kind enough to us that, you know, radishes are a cool season crop. Hopefully it'll stay mild enough that they'll grow and do good things. There should be enough growing season for the buckwheat to come up and actually flower before first frost. First frost will completely wipe out the buckwheat, but want to give the honeybees some extra food going into winter. And then of course the annual ryegrass, the rye and the clover, it'll survive all winter, provide good ground cover, and then hopefully we'll get big things from it next spring as far as biomass. Just a week ago this field was nice and brown, and now you can kind of see a tint of green going across there. So hopefully this stuff will get good and established, get some roots in the ground before we get any hard eroding rains, and protect our soil all winter long. Well, that's going to be all for this video. I got to get on back to the shop because we got something else big going on today.